Hey, Lit Set, it's Jasmine.
Hey, Lit Set, it's Nikea, and this is Black Girl Lit,
the podcast. We're a podcast now, guys.
Where Black girls are lit,
we get lit,
and we read lit.
This is Black Girl Lit, the podcast.
Hey, Lit Set, Nikea and Jazz back with another one. Season 3, episode 2. Pew, 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 pew,
pew, pew. We are back with that crack.
She went there.
It's the crack of the people. The books are the crack.
All right.
And we are the crack dealers.
We're the pushers. I like that. I accept that analogy. So we are here recording in the evening. So we're just going to do a little check-in, update, see how everybody's doing, how you living. We're still in quarantine, social distancing, self-isolation time. So just checking in, Jazz. How's it going? How's it flowing?
You know, it's flowing pretty good. Yeah, in the last episode, I told you guys that I was unemployed. I am now employed. I now have a job. I actually had my first day at my job today, and today also makes 2 months since I was laid off at my other job. So God was in the blessing business. Mm-hmm. He blessed me with this new job. Let's see what else is going on. You know, that's about it. Still planning a wedding.
That's about it.
That's about it. I did tell my fiance today that, like, dang, I kind of wish I was still unemployed a little bit because I had no time for myself yet today. And I'm just like, I have so much time for myself all these other days. Now let's go. Now I got to go back to being, a real contributing citizen to society. And I don't know if that's what I want to do. So,
Well, if you know her fiance, he likes that. He likes the fact that she has a schedule now, I'm sure.
Oh my God, he is so excited about it. Like, literally, he is so excited. He asked me, do I have to go to work tomorrow? And I was like, yes, I have to work every day. He's like, oh, you back to work on Monday through Friday? And I was like, you know what, you bastard. Yeah, bastard.
Oh, I know he is eating this up.
What things with you, man?
Things are going. Last week was really rough for me mentally. Mm-hmm. I was just not in a good space. I didn't do any work. We had meetings. I went to those 2 Zoom meetings and I didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't into it. I did get on a Zoom call with a few of my students just to kind of check in with them to see how they were doing. So that was really nice to actually see their faces and get to hear them because they're a crazy bunch. And COVID-19 has hit home. I have some family members affected by it. I lost an uncle last week, not to COVID-19 particularly, but that's been a lot on my family because my family's already emotional. We're already on 1,000, so you add heightened emotions to that. So it's just been a lot, but I've been doing my best to pray and just stay busy with my YouTube and coloring and and editing the podcast and posting on social media, just really trying to stay busy and do creative type things. So yeah, I'm still not motivated to do any work because they want us to teach online, but all the kids don't have access to it. And then we don't have to grade stuff and we can't require them to be in the class when we teach online. So I don't even see what's the point. But hey, who am I?
That doesn't make any sense. I was actually going to ask you if you are going to be doing some distance learning, but it doesn't sound like it would be beneficial. I mean, learning and education is beneficial to students, but if all the students don't have access to it and, can't get that education, how can we require them to do something like that?
Right. We're supposed to start in a couple of weeks, and we've been having them do these choice boards, but out of all of my students, none of them have done them at all. So all right. I don't even know if I have anybody participating.
Doesn't sound like it. I do want to say that I am sorry for your loss for your family. We've already talked about this offline, but definitely we're keeping you guys in our thoughts and prayers. And if you guys need anything, just let me know.
Thank you.
Amen.
Appreciate it. Mm-hmm. All right, now we got that out the way. Heavy. Well, speaking of heavy, the book that we read is entitled Thick and Other Essays by Tressie, McMillan, Cottom. This was my pick. So, I'll get into it later. This is my pick. I chose this book. And we're just going to get right into the episode with the first segment.
Okay.
Which will be about the author.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Jasmine.
All
right. I see it in your face. All right. Tressie McMillan Cotton. Wow. Tressie McMillan Cotton. Did I just say cotton? Cotton again.
You said Cotton again. Stop calling her Cotton. It's Cotton.
Tressie
Cotton.
McMillan Cottom is an award-winning associate professor of sociology at Virginia Commonwealth University and a faculty affiliate at Harvard University's Berkham Klein Center for Internet and Society, whose work has been recognized nationally and internationally for the urgency and depth of her incisive critical analysis of technology, higher education, class, race, and gender. McMillan Cotton earned her doctorate from Emory University's Lane Graduate School in Sociology 2015. Her dissertation research formed the foundation for her first book, Lower Ed: The Troubling Rise of For-Profit Colleges in the New Economy. Most recent book, Thick and Other Essays, is a critically acclaimed Amazon bestseller that situates Black women's intellectual tradition at its center. Thick has won the Brooklyn Public Library's Literary Prize and was shortlisted for the 2019 National Book Award in nonfiction. The New York Times write that Thick is sure to become a classic. Tressie McMillan Cotton lives in Richmond, Virginia, where she supports radically progressive local candidates for public office, the Richmond Community Bail Fund, and removing memorials to oppressive racist fictions. And she is right down the street from me. Like, I need to go visit Tressie. I went to VCU for a semester. Go Rams.
I just want to say to Tressie, Aggie Prize, and she went to Central. So,
and she also went to Emory, where I wanted to go to get my PhD. But we'll talk about that later. That's actually in some of my notes. But yeah, and that is about the author.
I was actually going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then that's about the author.
Yes. And now we're going to get to the segment where Jazz typically flourishes and thrives, but I don't know how she's going to do this. I'm excited to see what she's going to come up with. So everybody, let's sit back and drink as Jazz synopsizes Thick and Other Essays.
And just for the record, the reason why she keeps pronouncing it thick like that is because the H in the book and like the actual cover art is actually quite thick. So she's adding that extra emphasis on that thick. But Thick and Other Essays is a book compilation of essays. It is 8 essays that touch on various topics that include politics, society, race, gender equalities, and then also how they all kind of apply to Black women specifically. And they all kind of come from Tressie's own personal experiences. And she just kind of shares that information. She also kind of talks about some of her own personal stories and how her stories are common to pretty much any woman, but like I said, especially and more focused on Black women. It's a high level view. The whole book is high level. I can't get too in the weeds in the synopsis because that's all I got. I can tell you the titles of some of the essays if that is something.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
This is funny to me.
So, like I said, the story consists of 8 essays. Those essays are entitled Thick, which is the first essay. The second is In the Name of Beauty. The third is Dying to Be Competent. The fourth is Know Your Whites, as in white folks. The next one is Black is Over. The one following that one is The Price of Fabulousness. Then you have Girlhood Interrupted, and then the last one is Girl 6. So those are the 8 different essays that encompass Thick and Other Essays.
Yeah, this is so funny. I don't know why. Is this the first nonfiction book we've read?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I popped that cherry.
Yeah, you did.
I popped it real bad. Thank you, Jazz.
You're
so synopsizing that for us. I was, just wondering how she was going to do that, but of course, she did it with grace and style. All right,
like I always do.
Wouldn't expect anything less. I was hoping you would slip and trip just so I could get a good laugh, but you did good, buddy. Oh, I have to take a sip. All right, now on to our next segment. We are going to give you our initial reactions. All right, so I have numbered mine. I have 5 reactions, even though this is my book. So I was gonna say, when I picked this book, I saw the title Thick. So I'm a Black woman, and when I see the word thick, I immediately think of somebody with body. Okay, she got thick thighs that save lives. She got a donkadonk. She got some boobs. You know, she thick. Okay, she just thick. Okay, thicker than a Snicker, thicker than a bowl of cold oatmeal. So I thought it was gonna be about. I did see the part that said other essays, but I thought it was going to be about, the Black woman's body. Boy, was I wrong. This book is very, very academic. It is heavy. I wrote this book is heavy and not what I was expecting it to be. I wasn't expecting it to be so academic. This is like the essays and research that I had to use when I was getting my master's degree and in undergrad, stuff that I had to go onto the library website and download PDFs and the different databases and stuff. I was like, oh my God. It was difficult to read at first, but I had to shift my mindset because we've read all fiction novels thus far in Black Girl Lit. So I'm just used to us reading those types of books. So I really just had to shift my mindset to, okay, let me think academic, let me think study. Sorry, my husband just sneezed, and the way he tried to suppress it was so funny. I appreciate it, babe.
Thanks, EJ.
But I don't even know what I was saying. Yeah, and some portions of the book made me feel as if she was a little high on the horse, a little condescending, especially the part about LinkedIn. And just I felt like she was just trying just a little bit too hard. But then on the other side of that, I kind of understand why she does that, because she's a Black woman in academia and such and such. So I kind of understand it, but some parts I was like, okay, Tressie, we get it. Okay. You're pretty smart. And then I do appreciate that she speaks her truth and she walks in it. She doesn't like back down from anything that she says. It's like, this is what I think. This is my opinion. Take it or leave it. And I also appreciate her calling people and society out on their bullshit. Like, she's really good at doing that. And those are my reactions.
Okay. So my reactions. I have 4 reactions. First reaction, like you said, way more academic than I was expecting it to be. And similar to you, I put that it initially bordered on pretentious in the beginning, especially in the thick essay. I felt like, I don't know, she was eating high on that. It was eating high on the pig, high on the cow. She eating high
on the hog. Yeah.
Eating high on the hog. The footnotes and the notations. Oh, I should mention that this book has footnotes. There are footnotes.
If you read on Kindle, it's 45 minutes worth of footnotes.
Yes, there are footnotes. And if you click a footnote, it pulls it up for you. Read it on Kindle, which is great, but there are footnotes. So the footnotes and notations make it feel like this book was more geared to non-Black women so that they can understand the Black woman's experience. So I know that this book is really touching on issues as Black women. And I don't know who she really wrote this book for. I feel like she said she wrote the book for Black women, but as I was reading it, the way she was describing certain situations and the way she was giving these details and these statistics and this information, I feel like she was actually writing it for someone who's not Black, so they can better understand, because I think most Black women already know a lot of the things that she talked about, either having heard that themselves or having experienced it themselves. And then I wrote, we get it, sis, you're an academic, because she kept pointing out, especially in the first essay, Thick, that she was an academic. As an academic, when I became an academic, when I wanted to be an academic, I was like, sis, I get it. You're an academic. That's what's up. Get your certifications, get your education. That's what's up. But sis, you don't have to remind me every time. I remembered it to like 3 sentences ago when you told me. And then I got really lost in some of the nuance of the essay, so I had to read. And maybe this is because maybe I wasn't lost in the nuance. Maybe I was just bored and it was not catching my attention. But I had to read either the whole sentence over or a whole paragraph over sometimes, because as I was reading it, my brain would just stop working and it would stop carrying, and I would like,
Same.
wait, what did I just say? And I would have to go back and start over. And then I didn't finish this thought, but I wrote the Vivian. I couldn't understand, and maybe I missed it when I wasn't paying attention, but she calls her mother the Vivian in the essays. Like, it's always the Vivian.
It's a that comes from the way her mom used to handle business.
Gotcha.
Like, yeah. So
I must
she
have
calls.
missed that portion. Okay. I missed that essay. My bad, sis.
Oh God.
But yeah, those are my initial reactions to the overall arching thing. I also tried to come up with like some initial reactions to some of the essays. I don't think we're gonna touch on all of them because there's so many of them and they're so kind of robust. But
thick.
So those are my initial reactions and thoughts on thick and other essays.
Yeah, it's like I had those same reactions. Like every time I was reading it, I would fall asleep. I fell asleep sitting up one time.
Me too.
I was sitting in a desk chair and I fell asleep. Like you really have to shift your mindset for this.
You do. And I couldn't I'm happy that you were able to make it click for you, but I was never able to make it click. I was reading it unfortunately slightly kind of begrudgingly. So I had to like I never clicked. It never clicked. And maybe that's just a me thing. I don't think that's a Tressie thing. That's a me thing.
I think I like the essays towards the end. The ones in the beginning were like, but like the ones I read today that I finished I was like, okay, all right, I feel you. I understand this. I can make some notes on this. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So some stuff I was like, this sounds good. Let me highlight this.
Yes, I got highlights. Don't get me wrong. I got some highlights. But it was a shrug.
I feel like this is one of those novels, since it is an essay, I think it would have been good to read one essay, then you need to talk about it with somebody.
Yeah.
And then read the next essay and then talk about it, broken up like that. I don't think it's meant to be consumed how, we do in one sitting. So I had to break it up like that, like read one essay and then kind of step away and come back to it. But those are our initial reactions, as Jazz said. And now we're going on to our next segment, which is major scenes and topics. So there's a lot in this novel. As Jazz mentioned in her synopsis, there are 8 essays, as she mimes to me. And there's a plethora of topics. And I mentioned them a little bit in the author bio. But topics I think that were really big in this are race and racism, class and classism, sexism, healthcare disparities for Black women, being Black, regular Black in America, mm-hmm. and also in general, just being a Black woman in society in America. Mm-hmm. So I think those are some major topics. I don't have major scenes, so there's no scenes per se, but I do have some quotes, I guess, that we can get into once we start discussing. If Jazz, if you don't have any major topics.
No, all the topics are the same.
Yeah. I think when I first started reading this essay, I posted something on the Black Girl Lit page, and Tressie was in the first essay talking about being thick. There's a quote that says, "I was like many young women, expected to be small so that boys could expand and white girls could shine. When I would not or could not shrink, people made sure that I knew I had erred. I was, like many Black children, too much for white teachers and white classrooms and white study groups and white Girl Scout troops and so on." And that part rang true because I feel like this kind of relates to the previous novel that we read, Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, how we, the main character, what's her name?
Tabitha,
thank you. I was thinking about Vivian because you mentioned Vivian. But how Tabitha in Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, how she had to, and Black women in general, we have to shrink ourselves, or we're always like policing our behavior, or we have to seem small to make other people feel better about themselves. And like this has been a role that has conditioned us by society and made to feel like this is a way that we have to act. And I think, I don't know, I feel like the novel overall is maybe like a clarion call for Black women to just be like, you know what, we don't have to take this. We can take up space. We can be who we are. We can not shrink, and we can express our knowledge. We can express our power. We can express our race and our culture without having to feel like shrunken down, and to make room for other people and just to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I actually wrote down that what she pointed out in the Name of Beauty essay, that pointing out that Black women must figure out their beauty through the standards of white in non-white men has
Mhm.
added an extra layer of black girl exhaustion, because we all know that how you look as a black woman to a black man is completely different than how you look to a white man. And us still having to balance that and still find ways to be attractive to both sets when they have both completely different ideas of what those beauty standards are is
Right.
hard. And I'm not saying that white women don't have to do that, but they don't have to do that. So um, so that is just like you said, it's just another layer of black girl exhaustion.
Right.
Um,
Like, it's
so
so
that
hard. Like, we're in a world that wants us to have straight hair and have small noses and chiseled features.
Mhm,
And I feel like that, like you said, like that's hard for black women to navigate because I'm with a man who loves black women. Like he likes natural hair. Like if I ever mention relaxing my hair, we might
mhm,
have a fight. Like that's gonna be like a stressor in our household. And like even if I do wear like a straight wig or a weave, he's like, I mean, your natural hair looks better. So, but then you go in society. I wore a straight wig to work one time. They're like, oh my God, I love your hair. I just love it. When I straighten my hair, I got so many compliments at work. So I see like what you're saying. I can't believe like we actually struggle with that duality.
mhm. And I think we do it so subconsciously. Like
Yeah.
it's never, and I think that's where becomes more of a harm to us, is when it's so subconscious, and that's when we can kind of inflict more pain on ourselves.
Right.
Well, I will say one of the topics that I did want to talk about was the like healthcare disparities. So
Hmm.
I will say the essay that she had, dying to be competent, and that
Hmm.
one where she talked about her pregnancy and how her issues with kind of um, the healthcare system
Hmm.
was, it pissed me off. The entire essay kind of pissed me
Yes.
off when she was recalling the story and how she was dealing with everything. It was hard to read, and it actually was like one of my biggest fears because of like the huge bias within our healthcare system towards black women. Like
Hmm.
they don't listen to us in any form or fashion. And so actually
Right.
after I read the essay, I was like going through and looking. So I'm with like a particular healthcare group here in Charlotte, and I was like, all right, let me go through all of y'all doctors and favorite all the black female doctors and all the different specialties. So should I ever need you, I'm only coming to y'all. I'm not going to any
Right.
other doctor, because I felt like my voice would be heard more if
Hmm.
I'm talking to someone who looks like me and has
Right.
gone through my experiences.
Yeah. Thankfully I've never had any healthcare disparities that I know of. I've never felt like discriminated against in the healthcare sector. But I've just heard stories, and reading her story, I was mad at every single person that she came in contact with. And
Hmm.
at that in that essay, I didn't mind her flexing her degrees because
Yeah.
like she's like, I have a degree, but I'm telling you this pain and you're getting mad at me because I can't express this pain for you. And I read a stat somewhere that like a lot of non-black doctors feel like black people can tolerate more pain
Hmm.
than other people, and that's just engraved like in slave culture. That's a part of post-traumatic slave syndrome. Like just because we are descendants of slaves, African descent, because we have black skin, they think that we can tolerate more pain. And that reminds me of a scene from all American. Sorry if you have not caught up and watched the latest season on Netflix, but I think it's season 2 is on Netflix. But there's a scene where a character is in the hospital and he gets shot, and he's in Compton, and all of the non-black doctors are like, oh, we have to shut the hospital down, this is a gang related shooting, what is he on, is he on drugs? And there's one black nurse who is advocating for his health, like saying he needs this pain medicine, he needs this drugs. And at one point she looks at the doctor and was like, if this was any other patient, you would have been gave him these drugs, you would have been done this, but because of his skin you're doing this. No, this is not going to serve the patient. This is what you need to do, this is what you're going to do. And I'm like, man, like I was watching that with my husband, I was so upset watching it. I was like, thank you that somebody there was advocating for him. And it just
Hmm.
sucks that black women, we don't have that. Like Tressie lost a child because nobody was listening to her, because I think she said she was describing the pain in her
But
butt.
they
And
said it's supposed to
usually,
be in your back.
yeah, but I'm like, so
How?
what? So
Right.
how are you gonna tell me where my pain's supposed to be? Like, come on, pain can be in other places. Like, you should have done everything that you can to assist this patient. Boy, I would have sued everybody that I came in contact with at that
Right.
point. Like,
I
I was
told
so mad
David,
reading that essay, just like you.
I was like, look, if we should have children and I'm in the hospital or any kind of situation where I'm in the hospital and they're not listening to me, I need you to forget about being the stereotype of being the scary black guy and be the scary black guy to get me
Yes.
some help and advocate for me. Because I think a lot of times we don't speak up because of out of fear of, oh, I'm going to be an angry black woman or I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
a scary black guy and I'm not going to say anything. These are
Right.
doctors. They're supposed to know better than I, so I'm going to take their
Right.
advice. But no one knows your body better than you do. So if you are feeling something, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to make sure that you have someone there who can also be an
Exactly.
advocate for you. But yeah, that essay was really hard to read, especially because I was reading and trying to figure out, okay, was she in Charlotte when this happened? Because then I had to like Google what Charlotte Catholic hospitals were around. Okay, I'm not going to this Catholic hospital. Like it was just too much.
Yeah, I would never go to a Catholic hospital.
But it's something that's so scary because if someone, and also what's really scary is because if someone like Serena Williams, who is a gajillionaire, who is a
Right.
superstar, who almost died during childbirth because they weren't listening to her, what are the chances for all the rest of us broke bitches? We don't got no chance. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna just.
It's a shame. It's a shame that we live in one of the most advanced countries in this world, but we have so many mothers dying in childbirth. That makes no sense.
Is America really advanced?
We're supposed to be. We're supposed to be one of the best countries in the world. I'll be trying to figure out, why do people love America so much? Like,
is it really?
I'll go live in Aruba.
With the pandemic, I'm starting to realize that America ain't shit.
It's not that great, and it never was.
America been tripping. Were there any other topics or essay points that kind of spoke to you?
There is where she was talking about Black Girlhood Interrupted. Was that the one where she was talking about how Black girls are seen as grown?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So in the essay Black Girlhood Interrupted, is that the right title?
Yes.
Okay. She was talking about how Black girls are automatically seen as more grown. And it's funny because I just saw a post on social media a few days ago where it was like a picture of a Black girl and then a young Black girl, probably like between the ages of 4 and 6, and then a young white girl the same age and with like maybe the same hairstyle and the same outfit. And people were like, of course, the little Black girl is considered grown, but the younger Black or non-Black girl is considered cute or a young fashionista. And I'm like, wow, that is so crazy. Like, I hate the fact that we sexualize Black kids' bodies so much that like, if my daughter runs out of the bathroom naked, if you're, oh my God, put some clothes on her, she can't do that. She's a little kid. Like, she doesn't know. Like, if we are in the house and she's walking around, and sometimes Harper wants to walk around in her underwear. Like, okay. Like, why do we sexualize kids' bodies so much? Then at that point, we need to check ourselves. And like, why are we sexualizing these kids? And then who do we have around these kids that we need to watch? If you are inviting people around your kids and they can't be free Black children, then that's a problem. That is definitely a problem.
I think I don't know. It has always pissed me off when little Black girls are always told that they need to go put some clothes on because Uncle Joe is coming to the house. Well, tell Uncle Joe to not be a pervert and look at my 6-year-old body and my little shorts and my little tank top. Like, right. I don't know. And I just feel like it's ridiculous. And then also the racial kind of, discrimination. I don't know if it's discrimination, but like you said, the divide between how a little Black girl with pink hair is considered grown. Oh, that's too grown for her. A little white girl with pink hair. Oh, that's cute. That's adorable. She's acting her age. Why is that? And I just don't understand it. And I've never been able to really understand or grasp the start of it. I can always just attribute everything back to slavery because slavery is the fault of everything. So, but I don't know. I think it's just, I don't know. I hate it. Yeah. And I just know for myself that my thing is that whenever I have children, my goal is to try to break the cycle as much as possible wherever I can. And that's going to be one of the areas that I'm going to do so. Like, we shouldn't be normalizing things of like, I don't know. If you got a touchy uncle, you need to call him out about it, not your daughter. Why are we telling her to go put clothes on and not addressing the fact that
he's being a pervert?
He got a problem.
Yeah, like I like you say, it's really ingrained in us because like sometimes, I think maybe a couple weeks ago, Harper came out of the bathroom. Like whenever she comes out of the bathroom, out of the tub, I'm like, Harper, let the tub out. And I told her, put your bathrobe on before you come out. And she ran out in the hallway naked. And I didn't yell at her, but I was like, Harper, don't come out here naked. Make sure you put your robe on. And then like I think back on that now, and I'm like, she's a little kid. She doesn't know. She doesn't. She doesn't understand, like, she knows body parts and stuff because I've taught her, but she doesn't understand, like, being naked, and she doesn't see it as something wrong, which is not, like, that's her body. But yeah, I hate the over sexualizing or just sexualizing in general of children. Yeah,
It's
just
ridiculous. I don't know. I hate it. Also, side
yeah.
note, I hate when people dress their kids up like little boys and like their baby daddies. Like, ma'am, that 3-year-old don't need all them Jordans and them gold chains.
He can't even
Why?
walk up straight. Why
Right.
does your 1-year-old have on shoes that's too heavy for his feet?
Right. Like, he's not in his growth development. He needs some
Right.
little kick around shoes so he can have proper posture. But no, you
Right.
got him in these heavy Jordans and these chains. Well, why?
I feel like
Sorry.
now the only time I police my attire is like if I'm going to be around my husband's friends, because like men are men and they're going to look. And I don't think any of my husband's friends are perverts, but I don't want to like,
Yeah.
come
Right.
off as like I'm trying to be all up in your face. So I'll be like, boo, is this cool to wear around them, or do I need to put on something long? What you think? Is this cool?
But I mean, it's different. You're in a grown woman. You have a grown woman body.
Right.
So, like, David gets mad because I don't like to wear clothes. So David gets mad when I be walking around. Sometimes I like to change my shirt in the kitchen, and he'd be like, "The blinds are open; they can see you." And I'm like, eh. But it's different because I got a grown woman body. But a 3-year-old,
Right.
6-year-old running around the house naked, who the hell cares?
Right. Exactly. And another part in that essay, she was talking about R. Kelly and Charlemagne, the God. I just call him Charlemagne. I don't like calling him the God.
Yeah, because
So
the God.
I just told my husband I do not like Charlemagne. And she was talking about how he discussed like his how he beat this rape case and the way he talks about having sex with a girl that may have had too many drugs or too much to drink. And the quote says, Charlemagne is a bit like a court jester. He is from Mox Corner, South Carolina, a place I actually know more than a little bit about. It is country and black and southern and hard to make it out of. Charlemagne is not particularly talented, except in his willingness to be seen. He translated that into a successful career on urban radio and the equivalent of off Broadway cable television. He made it. And my response to that section was, I do agree that he is a clown. I do not like the way he articulates himself and discusses topics. He is very condescending and acts as if he knows everything and is always right. He may be intelligent, but his voice overshadows that. My husband calls him a disruptor. I just call him annoying and ignorant. Because my husband loves to watch The Breakfast Club on YouTube. Every time Charlemagne talks, it gets on my nerves. And there's this section called the Rumor Report that Angela Yee does. She does ask for some feedback from DJ Envy and from Charlemagne, but every time Charlemagne gets feedback, he starts talking over her and try to make it seem like what she's talking about doesn't matter. Like, oh yeah, you just need to do this, and they should just do this, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, shut up, Charlemagne. Like, who made him an authority? Like, I'm so glad she said that. Like, Tressie, you are my sis for saying that, because Charlemagne is just, I don't like
He trash.
Yes, he's complete. Like, he calls people donkey of the day. He's donkey of the century. I don't understand how people like look up to him. I don't get it. Like, and also in that essay, she mentioned how Black women are afraid to speak up about things that Black men have done to them because we are always taught to like build up the Black men. We don't want to tear down our own community. But if we have a jackass in our community, we need to call him out and let him know who he is, and he needs to get his shit together. Yeah. So in my book, Charlemagne's a jackass.
I don't think calling people out on their bullshit is breaking down the community. I think that's actually uplifting the community because it lets people know about some areas where they may not be the most self-aware, and helps them present their best self. So just consider it to be constructive criticism. Right. But yeah, I don't like Charlemagne either. And then also the whole idea that, I don't know, it's a whole nother conversation for another day about like date rape, all that. So we can talk about that later. I have thoughts and feelings. One other thing, there was a quote when the Black is Over essay, which kind of talks about how
I wanted to talk about that. Yes.
The difference between Black, like African Americans, and then like Black people in America that aren't from America, and the differences between those two. And she was talking about was going to Emory. and she was having it like part of a Black social group, and somebody asked her, "Oh, what neighborhood in Atlanta do the blacks really go to? Because I don't want to go over there." And she was kind of pointing out how the different ethnic groups, being a Black ethnic and then African American, is different. And she had talked to a professor at Duke, and they said that, Africans appreciate their education. And she talks about, basically said that quote to her represented that they're trying to say that Black Americans are disruptive and they cause more problems. I will say, though, I kind of understand where she's coming from, but I felt her perception of that quote was a little off. I think that it may be more to do with the lack of readily available education in Africa, as opposed to Black African children, African American children not caring about their education. Granted, there are still some children in America who are not getting the education that they deserve, who are not getting provided for, especially if they're going to school in an urban area. But I think the idea of saying that Africans appreciate their education more is because sometimes some people in Africa have to walk 10 miles to go to school, or if you're a girl, you don't even get the opportunity to go to school. So when you do get this education, you're definitely going to take advantage of it more. Whereas here in America, pretty much everyone, I'm not an educator, so don't quote me on this, but from my outside non-child having view, it looks like most kids can go to school. Now, what that education looks like when they get to the school, that's a different story. But you can go to school in America.
Yeah.
For the most part. So that was the one thing that I just did not like about that essay, was her idea that it was kind of like, I don't know. I just didn't like her perception of that one particular quote in that essay. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
I just like that. I like the overall topic of how you need to, in America now, it's not cool just to be Black. You have to be special Black. Or because I even find myself falling into that. Like, I know a lot of people who are Black, but their family is from Haiti, or they have family in the Dominican, or they are from some part of Africa. So they have some culture and, something to embrace and to hold on to. And I just think that is so cool. Like, they have accents and languages and flags and food, and I'm just American. I'm Black American, I have collard greens and cornbread and sweet potatoes, that's what I have. I do appreciate that. But I just think that is a very true thing in America. Like, it's so much cooler to be special. I'm gonna call it special Black, and not just regular Black or Black, as she mentioned in the novel. But I just think that was a really good topic that people should actually think about.
No, I agree. And I will say, though, that is something that even myself, I've fallen into that. I wish I was special Black, especially when I was younger and trying to kind of like figure out my own beauty, because I always felt like being black or something like that. Or even though my hair texture is nothing special, people have asked me, "Oh, what are you Black?" Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, you mixed with something?" I'm like, "No."
Because you got that looser curl, sis. You have good hair, what people call, air quotes, good hair.
This hair is trash, okay? This hair is straight up garbage.
I know. Leave it up to Jazz. She does not have good hair.
Not good hair. Okay, it's all an illusion.
Good or bad hair.
The jigaboos and the wannabes.
All right, y'all, that's it for our major scenes and topics. Now, our next segment is Sips, is where we invite our audience to send in burping from my wine, where we invite our audience to send in voice notes, to type up a message for us to include in our episodes about previous topics, about previous novels, or the current novel that we are reading. So you can email us at blackgirllityt@gmail.com, or you can slide into our DMs on Instagram at blackgirllit_. See you there for the sips. And lastly, what you have all been waiting for, the most anticipated moment of the show, where we are going to rate this book. We have a scale. Jess, tell them what it is.
Yay! Come on, kids, come down for the scale. So you got sober, which is then you have buzz, which is and then you have tipsy, which is and then you got lit, which is okay. And that is our scale. Thank you for listening.
All right, since this is my book, I guess I'll go first. Yes, I gave this book a tipsy lit. Okay. I gave it a tipsy lit because I like the topics that she addressed. I was a little hesitant about the way in which she addressed them, especially in the first few essays, like I mentioned. The last few essays are more attainable and more understandable. Is that a word? Understandable.
Understandable.
It's a word today. But it was
Understandable is
easy.
definitely a word.
Oh, it just sounds bad. But it was easy for me to understand the last few essays and like really get into them and have some feedback on them and really know and pull out the like key points from the essays. I think initially I just had to get over her being a little highbrow, like I'm Tressie and I know this and I know that. But once you get past that, she really has a lot to say. I appreciate her for standing in her truth and speaking out and standing up for Black women. And like I said, for calling people out on their bullshit, people and society. Okay. So this book gets a tipsy lit from me.
Okay.
Jazz probably gave it a sober because she fell asleep.
No, I didn't give it a sober. I gave it a bust. But that's just my own personal interpretation. Granted, whenever you guys, if you hear our ratings, that is our own personal interpretation of the book.
Right.
That's not saying that she won't like it, that it's not a good book. It's just for me personally, I thought it was buzz. Mainly because it was just so difficult for me to read. Like I struggled to get through that book. Did not have it finished until today. We were reading it for quite some time and I just struggled. I avoided reading it, to be honest with you, because it just is I am not an academic mind. I've learned that about myself after reading this book. I am very basic. Okay. Just give me a couple characters, a couple plots, a setting. That's all I need. I will say though, I do appreciate her putting this book out there. I definitely think it's something that needs to be read by all people, but definitely by people of non-color. Like I think especially white women, because they got lots of. I think they should definitely read this book.
And white men too.
And white men, but the reason why I say I think white women is because white women play much more of a pivotal role, and I think in breaking down race barriers than white men do. They don't realize it, but they have a really strong place in ending a lot of prejudice and racism that they don't. They're too busy worried about being called Karen than worried about some other things. But that's beside the point. Like I said, the book is a buzz. For me personally, I think maybe later I could go back and read a couple of the actual essays one at a time and just kind of do it that way. I should have done the way that Nakia did it, and maybe I would have had a different response. But because I try to read it straight through like a regular book, I think that's where I fucked up. But yeah, so that's my rating.
All right, y'all. We have a buzz tipsy lit book.
A buzz tipsy lit. Okay, you can go lots of ways.
Yes. So we encourage you all to read this book. Let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. Engage. Interact with us. Okay?
Oh, okay.
And before we go, tell you all the next book that we are reading. It is entitled Intercepted by Alexa
Martin.
Okay, there we go. My Kindle app on my phone won't let me pull that. By Alexa Martin. It's a fiction novel. So it'll be easier for us to read and get through and give y'all all the little jokes and laughs that you expect from Black Girl Lit. Dang, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, hope everyone stays uplifted and encouraged in this unprecedented time in society, in the world, in history. I know Jazz and I are avid readers. I don't know how it is for her, but for me, I have not been reading as much. I thought, I'm about to be reading all the books. I checked out 8 books from the library from my school on my shelf untouched. So sometimes you just have to push through. I've actually been scheduling time to read each day. So we encourage you all to read, do something to keep you active, motivated, inspired, keep those brain muscles moving.
Yes. Extend yourself some grace and understanding during this time. Guys, you don't have to come out of this a millionaire with some new skill set, some new business plan. It is okay if you come out of this just alive. So take your time, do what feels right to you. If that's reading, if that's coloring. I picked up diamond painting, which is some new thing that I didn't even know existed. Do what works for you.
Exactly.
But make sure you listen to our podcast. Okay.
Yeah,
make sure
that's one thing we prescribe.
Yes.
A dose of Black Girl Lit daily. But thank y'all so much for listening. That's all. And as always, stay Black Girl Lit.
Stay Black Girl Lit, y'all.
Bye. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes.
Leave us a 5-star rating and a top-notch review to get us to the top review page on iTunes. And be sure to follow us and listen on SoundCloud.